Hey there. Recently, we had a friend stay with us, and he stayed with us a couple times now this past year. He is ex Amish, so he left the community in his late 20s, I guess, and now he is just living in the broader American world. And talking with him has made me rethink a few things, and it's been really interesting hearing his perspective. One of the things he shared with me really made me rethink how much the Amish put into maintaining their community. I think before I assumed it was probably a lot easier than maybe it really is. And it all came from a conversation I had with him about traffic. So at first, I realized that when he came to stay out here, he was working a lot in the Los Angeles area. And I have never seen worse traffic in the entire country than the Los Angeles area. And it's something that I try to avoid. And we live on the outer edge, but still, we have experienced enough of LA traffic. And so I was really curious to hear what he thought of it. And so when I asked him, "Oh, so how do you feel about the traffic here?" I was really expecting him to be so stressed compared to, where he had come from in his life. And he was just like, traffic's nothing. Like, traffic's not a problem. I don't know why people get so stressed out about it. And he was describing how when he would drive in his car, it was pretty relaxing because his environment is temperature controlled. You have AC and heat, and he has a smartphone so he can listen to whatever he wants. And just really, he's like, traffic's no big deal. And he would be driving out from our place quite a ways. And I was just really surprised at that. And what I learned was that he was comparing it to his all his upbringing and experiences with the horse and buggy life. And that's not easy. It looks so cute and quaint, this little horse drawn buggy plopping, clopping, whatever, along the road. And it looks so beautiful and calming. But the way he described a lot of his trips were not relaxing. If it was hot outside and you're in that buggy, you get really hot. And if it's raining and hailing, well, the wind and the rain, the hail would come into his buggy because he still has to hold the reins and control the horse. And it just really made me rethink what that experience would be like. Also, those horse and buggies don't go very fast. I had never really thought about that before. So you got about a 5 to 8 mile speed that you could go on those things. And it just has made me rethink some of the assumptions I had about Amish community. I know that many of those communities are designed so that families live within a close range of each other. Like, they don't want people scattered all around. But even if you're just 2 or 3 miles apart, well, if you're going at a pace of a horse and buggy, that could take a good amount of time, like, at least half an hour or so. And then if you're 5 miles apart, I guess you're looking at about an hour to get to people in your community. And also, he talked about some of the church meetings he'd go to. And he was, again, sharing his perspective, like how he can't really relate to people complaining about driving to go to a church meeting, because some of the meetings he would go to it would literally take them like 3 or 4 hours to get there to go to some big church meeting. And they just had a different take on what the travel was. He said how they try to look at it as spending time together. And I guess they're spending a lot of time together in that uncomfortable, not temperature controlled horse and buggy. And that perspective was very interesting for me to hear. I went through a phase for a while where we were biking a lot or walking or taking public transportation. And I started making my circle of where I wanted to go to very small. My husband lives pretty close to work. But, I can really see, just since the community I live in, or people that I meet for church with, are a little spread apart. Well, you know what? Driving is not really that big of a deal in the long run. And it made me realize that these people in the Amish communities, if they're dependent on the horse and buggy or walking, um, and a couple miles, that actually does take a lot of work, a lot of time, and some effort to go see their neighbors. And I think everyone's pretty well aware of the reputation the Amish have for being tight knit communities where if something happens, if someone's barn burns down, that everyone's going to come out and make the effort to go help. And people from maybe another community are going to come help for those disasters. Well, it just has really broadened my perspective to realize how hard these people are working to be in touch with their neighbors, and how, while I might not like some things about the cars or car culture, it's really a very convenient and easy way to go stay in community with others who maybe, yeah, maybe you live farther than 2 or 3 miles apart, but as far as actual travel time, you're probably traveling just about the same as the Amish, or maybe even less, and doing a lot less work to get to see your friends and loved ones. A second lesson that I saw really lived out in his life now is the incredible power that work ethic can have in helping somebody to go on to new things and do well, even if you have no background in those things. Just that the work ethic that you developed in a totally different area will help you. And that is such a good thing to think about when homeschooling and giving our children skills that we are focusing on for a short time, but maybe they won't really be doing the same thing later. But the work ethic can be a really powerful thing that they're developing. And what I mean by this is, when he came to stay, and I was really surprised how he immediately had work in our area, even though I think he only had been there once before, maybe never. And what he has done as he's been traveling and getting to see different cities and meet different people, he has become very skilled at using the gig apps like Uber Eats or Urban Sitter, or whatever you could use your phone for. He is on those platforms. He has successfully marketed himself. And so basically, wherever he goes, he could decide how much work he's going to do. He can pay for his own expenses. And it's just, he is not dependent on having someone else help him or having to find a job starting from scratch. And he's really amazed me in terms that these things were not familiar to him growing up. Obviously, he didn't have access to a smartphone or how to market yourself online or communicating with people via text and all that. His life in the past had a lot to do with farming, very limited technology, if any. And so I do think that the thing that the Amish are famous for, or one thing, is their work ethic that they instill in their children. It lasts, and it has helped this man go on to pretty much doing well in a culture that he wasn't really prepared for. But because he had those skills of being willing to work, possibly being willing to travel long distances to get to work, and just trying and being willing to do different things and just basically work, he has been able to be successful in a culture where he could have taken the easy way out, or like complained, oh, my upbringing didn't prepare me for this modern world. But no, he's doing really well. And I was really surprised at how many platforms he was on and just the different things he's able to get connected with. And so, despite not having higher education or, again, even just experience with technology, he's doing really well. And that is a really cool thing to see. Also, I just saw how, whether it was a project my husband was doing or whatever, he's just willing to be energetic and put forth his effort, whether it's even though it's not paid, and the willingness to serve other. Those were all really great things to see. And I guess I've already believed that before. Like, if you get good in one thing, you're developing not just that skill in that one thing, but you're developing character and perseverance and these traits that will help you later in life. It's just really neat to see that lived out in somebody who, like I said, could have just made a lot of excuses for not being able to do well financially. He could have gone that route, but instead, he just applied his work ethic to learning new skills, getting successful in technology, and making a path for himself. That was really cool to see. There are some other things that I thought from my time here, well, my time spent with him, but I'll just end there. It's been really neat getting to know him. And I think I've often been interested in other cultures, how that affects people's perspectives, and what are the good things that you can learn from another culture, even while you don't have to accept everything that they do. And it's just been really cool. So I look forward to his next visit and other possible lessons that I might take from our time spent together. God bless. Bye.